Dave Hubbard. Dave. Good afternoon. One of my favorite stories is of a shepherd who is herding his sheep down through a valley. He looks up and he sees this black SUV coming out of nowhere, a cloud of dust behind it. SUV comes down and pulls and stops right in front of him. Tinted window comes down, young guy, sharply dressed, looks at the shepherd and says, "Are you a shepherd?" He says, "Yeah, I am." He said, "Let me ask you a question." He said, "If I can tell you exactly how many sheep you have, will you give me one?" The shepherd said, "Well, that's kind of a bizarre request, but yeah, I'll give you one." So at that point, he fires up his laptop, he triangulates it with his cell phone and the satellite. Pretty soon he's working through some Excel spreadsheets. He says, "You've got 1,693 sheep." The shepherd said, "That's amazing." So at that point, he opened the door, went to the back, and he's bundling one up. The shepherd comes up to him and says, "Now let me ask you a question." He said, "If I can tell you exactly what you do, will you give me my sheep back?" He said, "Sure." He said, "You're a consultant." He said, "How did you know that?" "Well, 3 things." He said, "Real simple. Number 1, you showed up here. Nobody asked you to. Number 2, you want me to pay you for the answer to a question I already know the answer to. And number 3, you don't know anything about my business. You took my dog." Unfortunately, I don't need to know the specifics of your business in order to help you get better at what you do. Because I know for a fact that if you increase your energy, your vitality, if you increase your self-confidence, if you increase your vitality, you will get better and your company will get better. 35 years ago, I was at the top of my game as a professional athlete in the NFL as a 280-pound offensive left tackle. And then I stepped out of that world into another world. I soon recognized I was diagonally parked in a parallel universe. I also realized that my Sundays were not as exciting as I was accustomed to. There wasn't that adrenaline rush. So I decided to do something that I'd always wanted to do, and that was to go skydiving. So I gathered a bunch of my buddies, and we piloted a van. We went up to Yolo County near UC Davis in Northern California. Now, when I arrived there, it wasn't at all what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but this wasn't it. Kind of plowed fields, a shack of a building over here, an old wreck of an airplane over here. By that time, about 25 people or so had signed their life away. We're all standing on an empty patio with a lone picnic table in the middle. And we're waiting for who's going to get this show started. We hear a plane above us. We look up. There's a small plane. A doc comes out of the plane. He begins to do some acrobatic stuff. And he comes down and lands on his toes on the picnic table. He pulls off his helmet and says, "Hi, I'm your instructor." It's like, whoa, man, it was great. That was good. This guy, leathery skin, long hair, earring, tattoos, ex-Vietnam jumper, had thousands of jumps. I mean, we were confident at that point this guy knew what he was doing. Now, he started by telling us what we already knew. He said, "Listen, statistically, skydiving is very, very safe, much safer than you getting in your car and coming here today." He said, "I've been jumping people for 6 days a week for 6 years. We've never had an incident." He said, "Besides, this is a static line jump, not like the jumps today. This is like a military jump. When you're told to get out of the plane, you get out, and at that point, everything kind of takes care of itself." He said, "But Murphy's Law applies to parachuting like it does anything else. If something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong with you. So you need to listen and pay attention." He said, "I'm going to teach you a cadence. And you're not jumping today till you memorize this cadence. Because this cadence is going to get you out of trouble should trouble occur." He said, "When it's your turn, the pilot's going to give you 3 commands. He's going to say, feet out, get out, and go. Then you're going to start the cadence. And at that point, you throw your arms out and you say, arch 1,000, check 2,000, check 3,000. Now, that's 3 seconds. By that time, he said the chute should be over. And if it's not, well, you've got a problem." And it was great because he gave this really awkward, long pause because we're all waiting for what's the next word in this cadence. That's pretty important. He says, "And then you say, bad chute." And we're like, "You're kidding me?" But he really played off that to say, listen, a bad chute is a really, really, really bad chute. A bad chute will never be a good chute, not ever. So don't try to fix it. You cannot fix it. The only thing you do with a bad chute is to get rid of it. At that point, you go to the last words you say in the cadence, which is cutaway. You say, cut away your hands, go to some steel clasps. You open those steel clasps, steel rings pop out, you put your thumbs in and pull. And when you do, that entire pack leaves your body. Pack it all. It has a line attached to a aluminum ripcord, pulls it open for you, spare chute opens up, everything's fine. We took written tests, we took oral tests, we did role play in a mock airplane for hours until he knew we had that down. I was chosen to be the first one to jump that day. Not sure why. We jammed in this little plane with about 5 other people. I'll never forget, as we're going up, I thought, I get it now. Because when the pilot tells you to get out of this plane, you're anxious to do so. Because I'm not all convinced this thing can land. I know it's a moment of truth. I've been telling people all my life I'm going to do this. I'm sitting next to the door where there is no door and nervous. And the pilot says, feet out. Put my feet out immediately. They come up and hit the side of the plane. We're going, I fight my feet. As soon as I get it down, there's a little platform. He says, get out. I get out. Only one foot fits on the platform. The other's dangling in space. Because of my height, I can feel the underside of the wing across my back. And then it all hits me. It's like, oh, you idiot. What are you doing? It's entirely too late. And he says, go. And I let go. And I throw my arms up and say, arch 1,000. Check 2,000. Check 3,000. I had a bad chute. Story of my life. Now, I say that several things happen in a shocking, stressful situation, and I had them all, I think. The first one is what's called, and it's almost automatic, it's what's called brain lock. And brain lock is where your mind just seizes up because of the shock, and you only can think of one thing, and you just get frozen on it. Now, I brain locked on bad chute. I said it about 150 times. Bad chute. Bad chute. Bad chute. Oh, shoot. Over and over and over again. Now you say, well, that shouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, you ought to be able to collect your thoughts a little bit. Listen, one of the craziest things about parachuting that they tell you, but you just don't believe it until you do it, there's no sensation of falling. None. It's all relative. You feel like you're floating. My entire jump with an open chute should have taken 3.5 minutes. My entire jump took less than 30 seconds. I'm flying through the sky at 125 miles an hour, and I had no sensation then. I got off the cadence and into some stinking thinking, and I was in trouble. Finally, I did what I should have done a lot earlier, and that was pray. Folks, this is a very short prayer. No beginning and no end. It's God help. And God said, pull. And I grabbed and pulled, and it fired right through my face, and I hit the ground. It was 200 feet off the ground. I mean, hundreds of seconds, that would have been it. Now, I've been hit in the NFL pretty hard. I never hit that hard. I thought they were going to dig to find me. Because it fired through my face was a bloody mess. I had passed out. When I came to, there was a group of people standing over me, saying things like, can I have this watch? Those are my friends. First, I thought I broke every bone in my body, and then it began to concentrate on my back, and I realized I broke my back. Now, it turns out that that particular near-death experience had a profound impact on my future. Because it was during the long ordeal and the painful recovery of that I discovered a new fitness formula. And it was way ahead of the curve. In 2006, I was awarded a patent for this method. I also discovered that I had a passion, because of what I'd gone through, to help busy business professionals take better care of their most valuable asset, their body. I want to give you one takeaway today. And that takeaway, if you'll trust me, if you'll believe it, okay, and if you'll put it into practice and make it a habit in your life, will have a profound impact on your life. Most Americans today have a bad chute physically. And that bad chute is right here. It's fat. This is 5 pounds of fat, 5 pounds. Say, well, interesting, I lost 5 pounds recently, I hardly noticed the difference. You lose 5 pounds of this. You lose 5 pounds of this, you'll absolutely notice a difference. I know that your job as a business owner or a CEO or running the company is a very stressful job. Listen to me now. You want the most effective way to reduce stress? Get rid of this. For every extra pound of fat you have in your body, you have up to 6 miles of additional capillary for your blood to be forced through on a daily basis. That's a lot of stress on the body. Fat can put a lot of stress on a marriage. You ever hear the end? That's how the fight started story? Look, a couple of my favorites. Husband says to his wife, honey, you got a birthday coming up, what would you like? She said, I'd like something shiny and new that goes from 0 to 205 seconds. So we bought our scale. And that's how the fight started. Husband and wife are going out that evening, and she comes upstairs, and there's her husband instead of in front of the full-length mirror naked. He said, honey, I need a compliment. I'm looking old and fat. She said, well, your eyesight's damn near perfect. Here's a fat fact you probably don't know. If all the fat cells in your body were empty, it'd be the size of your fist. If all the fat cells in your body were full, it'd be the size of a couch. It's true that some are born with more fat cells than others. It's true that once you get a fat cell, it never goes away. But how fat that fat cell gets is totally up to you. Now, some of you may be sitting there and saying, well, I'm not overweight. He's not talking to me. Really? Do you know your percentage body fat? Because if you don't, I have no idea, and you have no idea whether you're fit. I can't believe in the year 2013, in the 21st century, we're still using the BMI to determine fitness. That is absolutely insane. The body mass index is nothing more than a glorified height and weight chart. You know why I don't like the BMI? Because I don't fit it. When I put in my height and weight of 6'7", 230 pounds, I come out obese or very obese. Why? Because it's not measuring the most important thing to determine fitness, and that's body composition. That's percentage of muscle mass to body fat. Here's a fact you need to understand. Eating more fat doesn't make you fat. Losing this makes you fat. And gaining this causes you to lose fat. This is muscle. Here was my biggest problem. When I figured out what I needed to do, my problem was being consistent with it. And my biggest issue was time. This is the age of the half-read page, right? Quick hash, mad dash, plain hop and brief stop, lamp hand, the short span, the brain strain, the heart pain, the cat naps till spring snaps and fun's done. We're just on this horrendous pace. But then I had an epiphany. I remembered a fact that most people don't know. The last Super Bowl was 4.5 hours long. Now they had that 30-minute blackout at halftime. Well, that's a long time for a football game. The actual game itself is 4 quarters of 15 minutes each for an hour. But you may not realize this. If you sat on the couch with a stopwatch, and you started that stopwatch every time the ball was snapped, and you stopped it every time the whistle blew, how much time would be on your stopwatch at the end of 4.5 hours? Anybody know? It's less than 12 minutes. That's amazing. Think about that. So there's a lot of standing around. But the actual ballistic burst of activity is very, very short. So that's when I developed my formula, and it was this. Fit 10. What if we increase the frequency of how often I worked out, in this case, every day? And then increase the intensity of the workout, in this case, give it everything I've got. Could I then decrease the time down to, say, 10 minutes? Well, I was going to give it a try. The great part about it is it totally annihilated all my excuses. Because, if I didn't have 10 minutes, there was no hope for me. Here's the great news. In 2.5 years, I reached my fitness goal. But here's the kicker. 25 years later, nothing has changed. I still just do that 10-minute workout. And I'm a lean, mean, powerful energy machine. Okay? I learned to fit it into my life as a habit, and that's the key. I found that it's far better to brush your teeth for 2 to 3 minutes a day than for 45 minutes 2 to 3 times a month. What do you think? You ever think about brushing your teeth, how silly that is? You don't step in front of the sink and go, I've got a really busy day today. Maybe I'll not brush today and brush tomorrow. No, it's become a habit. Let me give you a couple things that I learned in closing. Number one, small changes make a big difference over time. Everybody wants a quick fix. You want a quick fix? Get your quick fix. And then watch that fix disappear as quickly as it can. Number two, for any change to be permanent, You've got to be willing to live with that change permanently for the rest of your life. It's got to become a habit. So I want to close today by giving you a 1-minute workout, okay? Now, I only ask this. You've been sitting all day, okay? We're only going to work out for a minute, so I want you to give it all you've got. The first part, the first 30 seconds, you're going to remain seated. You're going to remain seated, and the last 30, you're going to stand up, all right? Everybody, look at me. I want you to sit up straight, square your shoulders off. I want you to grab your hands like this. When I say go, I want you to squeeze your fingers so tight you try to break your fingers. But I want you to try to pull your hands apart. Give it all you've got. Then we're going to shift to 2 other positions, and then we'll stand up and do the last 30 seconds. Okay, are you ready? Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. Harder, come on. 4, 5. Breathe now. 6, 7. Come on. 8, 9, 10. Next one, like this. Push as hard as you can. Try to break your wrist. Ready, go. 1, 2. Harder. 3, 4, 5. Harder. 6, 7, 8. Breathe. 9, 10. Last one, grab the sides of your chair and try to pull yourself off the ground. Only have one guy do it. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. 6, 7, 8. Breathe. 9, 10. Stand up. Push your chair away. You're going to run in place for 30 seconds. Get ready. I want you to run as fast as you can now. Don't let it pass. It's only 30 seconds. You've been sitting all day. Ready, go. Come on. Come on. Come on. 30 seconds. Keep it going. Keep it going. You know that when you sit down, you're not working any muscles at all. By just standing up, you're working over 300 muscles in your body. Keep it going. Keep it going. 10 seconds. Come on. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. All right, that's good. Have a seat. Yeah. Thank you very much. My work is done. No, I mean it really is. All right, I want to thank you. If you give me your business card, I'll put you on the list to get my weekly Fit Tips. And if you don't want them, you can unsubscribe at any time. I have the Fit 10 DVDs in the back. They're $20 today. And that will include my 250-page book as well, as an e-book. So if you want to do that, you can pick it up. Thank you very much, and God richly bless you in your life and your business. Thank you.